From KAKEland, this is Emmy award-winning KAKE News.
And after 51 years at KAKE, Larry Hatteberg is signing off. We say farewell and take a special look at Larry through the years. And the Ferguson officer at the center of Michael Brown's shooting death speaks out. Darren Wilson shares his side of the story, whether he would do anything differently.
The reason I have a clean conscience is because I know I did my job right.
Plus the local response to the grand jury decision.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. The day after that grand jury made the decision not to indict the police officer who shot and killed unarmed teen Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, authorities are waiting and watching to see what happens next.
And tonight, protests are happening all across the country, and Darren Wilson is speaking out. Marcy Gonzalez in Ferguson with our continuing coverage.
His actions triggered outrage from coast to coast. And today, for the first time, Officer Darren Wilson is talking publicly about the day he shot and killed unarmed teenager Michael Brown.
He's going to get this gun away from me. Something's going to happen and I'm going to be dead. So I pull a third time and it finally goes off. Telling
ABC's George Stephanopoulos in an exclusive interview that while he is sorry, he would not have done anything differently.
The reason I have a clean conscience is because I know I did my job right.
Wilson remains in hiding, where yesterday he learned a grand jury decided not to indict him. The announcement sparked violent protests in and around Ferguson, Missouri. Masked demonstrators burned businesses to the ground. They threw rocks and bottles at police. Officers responded with tear gas. Today, disgust and disbelief as the community comes together to patch up some of the destruction.
I'm not angry, I'm disappointed.
I agree with you.
I'm very disappointed.
And Michael Brown's family, through their attorney, shared their own disappointment, angry with how the case that sparked the unrest was handled.
We object publicly and loudly as we can.
And a lot of people are concerned that there could be more rioting tonight. Now, the governor insists that law enforcement is prepared, saying there will be more than 2,000 National Guard troops on the streets tonight, and that is a big increase from last night. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Ferguson, Missouri.
And across the country today, cities held vigils for the unrest in Ferguson. Here in Wichita, more than 50 people peacefully protested on the corner of 21st and Hillside. KAKE's Madeline Anderson here now with their message to our community. Madeline.
Larry, tonight's protest was about both demanding justice for victims of fatal officer-involved shootings and building better relationships so a Ferguson situation doesn't happen here.
Not one more!
Holding up signs with the names and faces of people killed by police. Protesters say the way officer-involved shootings are handled needs to change.
Police officers are not held accountable, and they are devoid of any responsibility.
Among the changes they're advocating for, body cameras for all WPD officers by the end of 2015, and more training on issues of race and crisis intervention.
We're also going to enhance the Wichita Racial Profiling Task Force Board to allow them to not only review cases, but to help in some of the decision making.
Beyond addressing reactive measures, protesters say the community needs to be proactive in its effort to improve communication between law enforcement and citizens.
When we don't know who you are or what you're doing and you don't know me, we make assumptions, we are fearful of each other, and fear then creates death sometimes.
They say the city needs to devote more resources to areas where police presence is highest and often most hostile.
The infrastructure to put in support for single parent homes and initiatives that create real jobs for people so that there are productive and constructive things going on in the community. We can see policing our communities begin to lessen.
And activists also want officers involved in questionable shootings to be placed on unpaid administrative leave throughout the entire time the investigation is open.
Thank you, Madeline. A No Ferguson Here vigil also held at the Christian Faith Center earlier today. About 24 activists, ministers, and families of those involved in officer-involved shootings came together to voice their concern on justice and inequality. One of those families included the sisters of Acarius Randolph. He was shot and killed by Wichita police officers on July 4th. They say they are glad to see the community come together, but want to see change between officers and the the community.
We have killings here by our Wichita Police Department that are questionable as well, that seem to be unaddressed, and lots of families affected that feel as though justice is not being served here.
Following an August forum, the group has moved forward with 4 key issues, including the implementation of body cameras on all Wichita police officers by the end of 2015.
And be sure and stay with KAKE News for continuing coverage of the decision in Ferguson. Check for updates anytime at KAKE.com.
New tonight at 10, a child in serious condition after being hit by a car in a Mulvane Dillon's parking lot. Happened shortly after 7 o'clock. Mulvane's police captain tells us the child ran out in the parking lot and in front of a car. No one else was injured. The child was taken to Via Christi St. Francis in serious condition. And the man suspected of attacking a woman at a Wichita park is expected in court tomorrow to face new charges. These are new details. Cornell McNeil, charged with attempted capital murder, rape, and arson in the attack on Letitia Davis in Fairmount Park last week. Now, those charges were amended after Davis died over the weekend. He could be charged with capital murder. If he is, prosecutors could seek the death penalty. A man who threatened to contaminate water supplies in Kansas and Missouri going to prison. Manuel Garcia admitted making phone calls to authorities about the fake plot to contaminate water supplies in Wichita, Topeka, Kansas City, and St. Louis. Garcia sentenced this week to 2 years in federal prison.
We have new details now on vote 2014 in Saline County. Now, that county's election clerk says a problem with the personal electronic ballots, known as PEBs, resulted in 5,000 unaccounted votes. Now, Saline County Clerk Don Merriman says the problem was discovered during the November 10th vote canvass. The uncounted votes now increase voter turnout from 35% to over 50%, but it does not change the outcome of any of the election. Well, it is that time of year again. The ARC's lights on St. Paul.
3, 2, 1. Left your T light.
Mayor Carl Brewer and Corin Schaefer, the ARC's first Miss Unstoppable, flipped the switch on the 1.4 million lights. Now, this is the 17th year of that light display. It will be open Thanksgiving through December 28th.
Well, in case you don't know, tonight Larry Hatteberg signs off for good. It is his final broadcast. You're not going to want to miss our special tribute to him. I put a lot of fun things in there.
I'm a little scared, Susie.
And that is coming up. But first, we've got these words from viewers to Larry.
Natalie Reed writes, I grew up watching Hatteberg's People, and I simply loved how Larry could bring some good news to our TVs. Thank you, Larry, for so many great years of TV. We will miss you. Lynette Fredrickson Berger writes, there is something about his voice that is so comforting. Anytime he came on the news, if it was bad news or bad weather, it seemed to come easier to hear it from Larry Hatteberg.
Thanks for making KAKE News your first choice for breaking news and weather. Your KAKE First Alert forecast brought to you by Pizza Hut. This is KAKE News at 10 with Susan Peters, Larry Hatteberg, sports with Shane Ewing, and meteorologist Jay Frater with your KAKE First Alert forecast. Always tracking, always alerting, always protecting. Emmy Award-winning KAKE News. Now, the most accurate forecast in Kansas. Here's KAKE First Alert meteorologist Jay Frater.
Now let's start line with KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. And across northwest Kansas, this is actually going to be a little more robust than we were talking about at 5 and 6 o'clock. You can see the rain actually changing over to a bit of snow now. I don't think we're going to see anything more than maybe some dustings across parts of northwest Kansas, but let's put this in motion for you. Over the past 30 minutes, everything's tracking down towards the south and east here. Not all of this even reaching the ground, still fairly dry at the ground here, but eventually we get a little bit of light rain changing over to light snow, and a few places might briefly dust up overnight tonight. You get back to the east a little bit, a few little light scattered showers east of Russell, also near Ellsworth and south of Lincoln. But again, some of that may be evaporating before it even gets close to the ground. Now for Wichita, for Hutch, for Garden City, for Liberal, I think this is all going to stay along into the north, basically, of I-70. Let's go to the Emprise Bank KAKE Cam. It is mostly cloudy. We're down to 42 degrees. The winds are out of the south at 12 miles per hour. 44 in Hutch right now, 45 45 in Salina, 39 in Goodland, 41 in Colby. It's 34 in Garden City and also in Dodge City. The winds out of the northwest in Goodland and Colby. That is the next surge. Colder air. Now with the cloud cover, it's not going to be as cold overnight tonight, but tomorrow will be a cooler day. Let's go back over the past 6 hours. The cloud cover is already into place. It's getting thicker. You see the showers changing over to the light snow, and you can track back that up to the northwest. And again, this is pretty quickly going to fizzle out by the time we get to morning. But northwest Kansas, maybe a little light of accumulation. Now, if your travel day is tomorrow for Thanksgiving and you're heading off to the East Coast, this storm system is just developing. More on that in just a second. Jacksonville, some places already a half foot of rainfall. Hour by hour, Cake Land tonight. There's that light snow. It'll be gone by 8 o'clock. Temperatures upper 20s to about freezing in Wichita. At noon, we're going to be back into sunshine, and I still think 30s and 40s. And then tomorrow afternoon, mostly sunny. It will stay in the lower 40s. I think Wichita for a high tomorrow by 10 o'clock tomorrow night, already down into the 20s. Now your travel forecast. Here we are, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The heavier rain starts moving towards the north and east, and it starts changing over to snow. So if you're changing airplanes, you're flying anywhere, the Charlotte hubs, anything around the Metro D.C., the Baltimore, Philly, New York, this will be rain changing over to snow. This is going to snarl air traffic and even the I-95 corridor. So if there's a way you can change your plans by Thanksgiving Day, here we are, 7 o'clock Thanksgiving morning. That's well off the coast, other than a few little small areas with some brief nuisance travel due to some snow here in parts of Minnesota and North Dakota. It will be a much better travel day across the country. The forecast for your corner of Cake Land overnight tonight: Wichita, Hutch, the rest of south central Kansas, mostly cloudy, down to freezing, 31 in Hutch, 33 in Winfield and Ark City. Becoming sunny tomorrow, windy and colder, 46 the high, the winds 15 to 30 with a few higher gusts. North central Kansas overnight tonight: few sprinkles, maybe a few flurries, temperatures right at freezing and below. And then tomorrow, sunshine, windy, cooler, 44 Salina, Great Bend, 43 Hayes and Russell. Winds out of the northwest, 15 to 30. And out west, northwest, here's where we're going to see some light rain changing over to light snow. Wouldn't be surprised if there is some dustings. 22 Goodland. Southwest Kansas, cloud cover, 30 in Dodge, 28 in Garden City. And then tomorrow we'll get back into sunshine. Not going to be as breezy. 42 Colby, 40 in Goodland, 45 in Dodge, and 46 in Garden City. So the planning forecast now for south central Kansas, including Wichita and Hutch: breezy for Thanksgiving. The high around 50, warmer on Friday near 60. Saturday, though, we hump the warm up, we cool it back down into the 40s. Same thing for north central Kansas. The only problem is we're in drought. It's still dry. As warm as 60 on Friday, upper 50 Saturday, and back into the 40s. Southwest Kansas, as warm as 68 on Friday, mid 60s on Saturday, then cooling into the 40s. And across the northwest, the warmest day will be Friday, the high close to about 70. Then we'll back it down to the mid 60s Saturday, and then I think close to 50 Monday and Tuesday. Our brother winner tonight is from Wichita, is Jay Hill. Says, you know what, I have fantastic grandkids that I take to school, and we could all fit under it. Speedy Cash, providing the big yellow umbrella. Go to cakelandweather.com, or you can send me a postcard to that address on the screen.
You know, Jay, I've always wanted one of those umbrellas.
I think I can get one of those for you.
Do you think you can get Larry one on his last night?
I do, because the person that has them locked up is actually the other side of the studio, and I think
we could get
I can chisel one out.
Larry, you haven't gotten an umbrella yet?
No, I don't have an umbrella.
After all these years?
Come here.
Never gave me one.
It has been a
fun, my
sincere
friend.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. That's a great guy, by the way. Great
He
guy.
is.
He is.
Okay, Shane's here now with sports.
Now with sports from all across Cake Land, here's Cake sports anchor Shane Ewing.
Yeah, why not? Let's knock out your sports. A wild game between two squads of Wildcats, Kansas State and number 3 Arizona, with a thriller tonight. You would have seen it if you weren't watching Dancing with the Stars. No problem, though. We've got you covered. Bruce Weber coming off his 50th win with the Wildcats. K-State went out to a 13-6 lead. Looked good early, but Arizona comes back, and they come back strong. Rondé Hollis Jefferson as opposed to Thomas Jefferson. 2:30 to go. Marcus Foster putting the Cats on his back. Another 3 falls here for him. Now it's 66-64 Cats down, coming all the way down to the wire. Cats would trail by 5. Foster fires again, and he was so locked in. His 6th three-pointer of the game gives K-State a chance. They would trail by 3 with 10 seconds to play, and watch how this plays out. Foster so smart, anticipating Arizona would foul, so he started his shooting motion and should have sent him to the line, honestly, to shoot 3 free throws, but the referees say he was fouled on the floor. That gave him just 2 free throws, and Arizona would hang on for the 70 72-68 win. So K-State will play tomorrow against the winner of Pitt and San Diego State in the third-place game. Can't win them all. You can talk about the Sunflower Showdown all you want, but don't tell any Bishop Carroll Golden Eagle that is the biggest game on Saturday. They'll be in Pittsburgh taking on Randy Dreiling and St. Thomas Aquinas. With the latest from Carroll camp, we go to our senior football reporter. He's with defensive back Josh Hornbeck.
Well, what do you see in St. Thomas Aquinas that could give our defense some problems?
They're really physical. They pound it down the middle all the time, but I think our defense will step it up, and we're physical too, so we'll give it to them.
You know, this is your second state championship in 3 years. You've had a great career here at Bishop Carroll. How do you want to end that career?
Oh, it's something I take pride in, you know, state championship, and it'd be great to end it on a win for sure. Something I remember for the rest of my life.
This is Alan Scheckman with ESPN. Looking forward to Saturday.
And we are looking forward to Saturday as well. They're actually going to Mass with St. Thomas Aquinas in Pittsburgh, so the two teams in the state championship game are going to go to church together.
Isn't that cool?
In the morning.
That is very neat.
So I bet it's been wonderful being your opening act, but I know we've got to say goodbye to Larry. So
are you the opening act?
Aside,
okay.
yes. Thanks,
we are going to be right back with a look through the years for Larry's final broadcast. But first, these kind words about Larry.
Chris Earl writes, where can one even start when recapping a career like Larry's? A legend in our field, a storyteller of the highest level, a reporter who evolved with the technology from the reels of 1963 to the P2 cards. A credit to our industry forever. A tip of the cap from Iowa.
Okay, so over the past 10 days, we have been taking a look back at Larry's career. And like Carl said before the last break, can't even begin to put all those 51 years in tonight's send-off. So forgive me if I sort of jump around in this next story, but I wanted to include some things you may not have seen of Larry. So let's just call it Hatteberg's People on Hatteberg.
Have a background as to what the escapees have done between the time they left here and when they were caught? They've been running ever since they left here.
Larry's first in-depth interview with the county sheriff.
Could you tell me the sort of humorous incident that happened with one of the prisoners, the way he was caught, I believe? They went with 3 or 4 days without anything to eat, and they said they sure felt good to get in that county jail down there and get some good solid food.
From there, the sky was the limit. Larry was sent in the mobile television cruiser all over South Central Kansas. Why, he was there to interview the pilot, who was the first to go around the world in a Learjet. And he asked him a very probing question.
I imagine that was quite a tiring flight. How did you arrange the sleeping?
It was in the 70s that Larry began sporting his famous mustache and his highbrow commentary, usually reserved for PBS.
The television news business is a jealous mistress.
It was also in the 70s that Larry began traveling the world for KAKE TV, from the pyramids of Egypt to rural China, Japan, Hong Kong, Israel. Larry took Kansas with him around the world and says he has KAKE TV to thank.
They've given me experiences that when I was growing up in Winfield, Kansas, I thought I would never have. And now all of a sudden I'm living it. And how lucky can I be?
But we may have been the lucky ones. After all, we shared Larry's experiences. And in the 1980s, we all figured out that it was his experiences closest to home that we loved the most.
Jonathan Chesson is 10 years old.
Most journalists are known for the big stories they have covered. Larry is known for the little stories he makes big.
When you're young, you can't wait to get out of your little small hometown, and then when you're old, you can't wait to get back to it.
Hatteberg's People. Larry has done more than 1,500 of them and has turned them into books and tapes. Ask him to pick out a favorite? Well, he just can't.
My feeling is that the people who I do stories on are like little gifts, little presents. They're like teachers about life.
It was the 90s that we couldn't get enough of Larry on just features, so there he was, lending his laid-back style to the anchor desk. And in the late 90s, when I got to join him, we went through everything: tornadoes, floods, 2 Wichita recessions, and more. and a few bloopers now and then.
Well, Roy Watch is underway, and tonight there is a new twist.
There sure is. It's not just our camera that's twisting.
No, a lot of twisting going on.
A lot of twisting going on up at Kansas University. There was the time I didn't even know we were on camera.
4 weeks, Californians have been suffering through rolling blackouts and rising energy prices. Sue?
Yeah.
Would you like to talk to the folks up there?
Oh my gosh.
We're back.
I was eating chocolate.
You were eating chocolate, and sometimes the camera comes back on and we don't know
I'm
it.
sorry. Or the time I caught Larry staring at the monitor, mesmerized as I read a story about a mass bikini party. Okay, yay. How much fun is that? Let's see, how many of them are going to be discovered, do you think?
Oh, I'm sure somebody will be discovered in that. I was just looking at the video while you were
trying
reading.
to discover someone.
I was just watching television a little bit.
But it was what went on behind the camera that I think I'll remember Larry most for. Like the time during the 5 o'clock news, during a commercial break, I began to feel dizzy. Then I fainted. I was lying right here on the floor next to Larry. What did Larry do? He sat in his seat and he said, "Put the camera on me, put the camera on me." But for the most part, this is how it went over those 18 years during commercial breaks. I would talk, and Larry would listen. I would talk about the milestones in my life. I would talk about the milestones in Larry's life, and Larry wouldn't say a word. He would just sit here and listen. I would laugh. Larry would listen. I would cry a lot. Larry would listen. And then it dawned on me, he was such a good listener. That is probably what made Larry such a good storyteller.
We learn from each other. It's a two-way street. You don't get in the television business and survive in this business alone.
Survive. Larry has definitely done just that and more. Through the 2000s and beyond, 51 years at the same television station, the only job Larry has ever had. Which brings me back to Larry's hometown of Winfield. And his parents, he says he owes this all to.
My parents sacrificed an awful lot for me to make sure that I could do what I'm doing today. They ran a little bakery in Winfield, Kansas, and they let me have a darkroom. My dad built me a darkroom in the basement of this bakery so that I could have a place to develop my film.
Merle Hatteberg passed long ago, before he got to see his son travel the world, gather awards, and become a nationally known photographer. Larry's mother passed just a few years ago. Pretty sure, though, tonight, they're both looking down. They are proud parents. And to them we say, thank you for giving their son a start on a career that has been a blessing to us all.
Wow.
Larry. Okay, so I've anchored with Larry for 19 years now, off and on, several newscasts. This is surreal to me that we're saying goodbye to each other, and I spend more time with him than I do my husband every day, and it's just, on a personal note, I don't want to make this too personal, but I am going to miss Larry very, very, very much. And who's going to listen to me, and who's going to laugh at me? I love you, Larry.
I love you too, Sue, and I've heard every word you said.
You have heard.
I've heard every word you've said right here, and it has been an absolute pleasure. We'll talk about that in a minute.
No, we won't. We'll hug now.
Okay.
Love you, Larry. Okay, so we're going to be back after this, I think.
We will.
Yeah.
Fritz Davis says, not a bad ride for a cameraman. And finally, Charlotte Knox writes, career well done. Enjoy your time. That is now your own.
Okay, so we don't have enough people on the set who are shedding tears. So we're going to bring some more on, because we only have 2 right now. So we're going to bring some more on, some very special guests for Larry tonight. Come on out. Your family wanted to be with you tonight, Larry.
How wonderful.
And here they are.
Hi, guys.
my daughters, my grandkids. This is wonderful.
Daughters and
This is
grandkids.
so great.
You can't beat that.
My son-in-law. This is so great.
Isn't this nice? They wanted to be with you, your last newscast. And
I'm so happy and so honored. You guys picked a great time to come.
Okay, so they picked a really good time to come because we have one more thing to present for you before you get to talk.
Susie.
Okay, so very few people at the station, a very select few, Martin Umansky, Paul Threlkel, John Froome, have had like rooms named after him here at the station, okay? Martin Umansky, of course, has the whole station named after him.
Yes.
And they're all like, we have plaques, okay? And so tonight, we usually call this Studio A. It's now going to be called Studio H because this is now the Larry Hatteberg studio. And so when we go, okay, let's go up to Studio A, we won't say that anymore. We'll say, let's go to Studio H because the studio has been named after Larry from this day forward. And yeah, so that's the deal. And here's your plaque.
Gosh. Well,
we have to take a break before you start talking, but go ahead and say something about this.
I don't have words. I don't have words for what the station has done for me today and throughout my career. I'll talk about it in just a second, but this is an incredibly great honor that I can never repay. And to the people here at KAKE, I say thank you. I love you. It's just so wonderful that, you know, we're in a business of words. And I can't think of a one.
You can't think of one, can you?
That's just so nice. Thank you.
There's one that's going to hang here in the studio, and then one you get to take home. So,
how sweet.
Okay, so he was going to try and think of a few words, and we'll be back after this.
Angie Parker Klein writes, "Thank you, Larry, for your years of dedicated service and for giving us a piece of cake we can always hold on to."
And so here we go. Great television newsrooms are built by those with vision, who see sparks of creativity in the men and women who tend the craft. Well, I've worked in that newsroom. When the creative spark is ignited through consistent feedback, education, and a common goal, the newsroom becomes a magical garden of continuous growth. And for me, the magic and that growth lasted 51 and a half years. Now, when I first began at KAKE TV, I worked from 7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night because back in 1963, nobody told me what my hours were. But you know what? I didn't care. That was okay. I didn't want to go home. You see, I was just an 18-year-old kid when I arrived here at KAKE, but I was working with the legends that you see here. John Froome, Henry Harvey, Bill McLean, Greg Gamer, Paul Threlfall, and the legendary general manager Martin Umansky were my teachers. I was surrounded by the best in the business anywhere. Here in this studio and throughout the station, creativity flowed like wine because there was no instruction booklet on how to do TV. So the groundwork was being laid daily. And today, television is what it is because of those early day TV pioneers who I still keep in awe. So we fast forward to tonight when my career takes another direction. But I am so blessed to have this kind of send-off. It doesn't happen often in this business, and I am honored and humbled beyond words. My DNA is here in all of these KAKE walls, but my love for the business does not lie in the brick and mortar. It is with the people, both within the station and our viewers, who have made my stay so fascinating. Now, I've traveled the world on stories, and yet it seems my favorite people are right here on the Kansas prairie in the form of the Hatteberg's People series. You know, when I was having a bad day, yet I had to shoot a Hatteberg's People story, all of you lifted me up to your plane of existence, which many times was so much higher than I could ever go on my own. You know, you taught me about life in each and every story. Many of your lives now written in the video history book for all to see. So to my friends, close friends here, this will be the most difficult part. But know that I am happy to leave and excited about the future. But we've been a team here at KAKE. In TV, we don't travel down this road alone, not at all. Any success I've had is due to the talents of all the KAKE people I've had the honor of working with over the last 5 decades. This is hard. For 19 years, Susie has been my friend and my confidant, and really my co-anchor for umpteen shows. Her warmth, her personality, and her friendship has been a beacon of light on some very, very dark news nights. So, Susan, I'm not going to tell you goodbye. No. I'm just going to tell you that I'm going to be watching, okay? All right. Okay. And, yeah, this is the hard part, isn't it? Yeah.
I didn't think I could make him cry, but I made him cry.
Now, there's Judy, my other wife.
Yeah, your other wife.
My other wife, who is the writer, the poet, the teacher. And since the 8th grade, gosh, so many years ago, when we first met, she is a woman who is making my life so much better. We traveled a lot of roads together, and I need to repay her the debt of time, and of that, I owe her more than I can ever repay. I am just the kid from Winfield who met the right girl early on. Now, I was the lucky one, and I could not love her more. And then, there are my daughters, Sherry and Susie, and for a father, for a dad, boy, I'm telling you, it doesn't get any better than this. All I have to do is to look at them, and if I could just be remembered for one thing, it would be known as Sherry and Susie's dad. So it is time. I leave tonight with great hope for the future of local television, but it will have to change to meet the needs of future generations. The corporations who own all of us will have to change too, and I do fear that will be much more difficult. But the power of local television doesn't lie at the corporate level. It's right here, locally, in the creativity, the people who work against all odds to bring you the local news fairly and responsibly to your TV screens on a nightly basis. With them, I leave you in good hands, and I thank you for 51 unforgettable years. So, my friends, until we meet again, I bid you good night.
I think I'm just going to end by reading what's on this plaque. And it says, on May 23rd, 1963, Larry Hatteberg began his 51-year career with KAKE TV. He signed off the anchor desk for the last time on November 25th, 2014. Wow. This studio is dedicated in his honor. So there you have it. It's a great way to finish a 51-year career, isn't it, Larry?
I am so touched. I am so honored. I don't have words for what everybody has done for me this day. The station has been wonderful. The station has been so special. Susie has produced some wonderful things, and we've shared some great moments on television. And you'll continue to do more.
Yeah, right.
You'll continue to do more great moments.
Oh, what am I going to do with
keep
that?
watching KAKE. It's full of great, great people.
Guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Thanks for staying up late with us. Thank you to Larry's family for being here. Thank you for giving us Larry all these years. And there's a ton of people out in the studio there too. Thank you for being here. And yeah, well, I'll let you say goodnight.
Good night, everyone. Till we meet again.
God bless.
For breaking news and your most accurate local forecast, KAKE News is on air, online, and on your mobile. Always tracking, always alerting, always protecting. KAKE News. Away from home? Get your KAKE First Alert forecast on KUIN KNSS.